Welcome to the channel, The Coin Lore Vault. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the street, toss them in jars, or hand them over without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific penny from 1974 could be worth a staggering $35 million? Yes, you heard that right. $35 million for a single Lincoln penny that might be hiding in your old coin collection, tucked away in a drawer, or even sitting in a piggy bank gathering dust. This isn't some fairy tale or internet myth. This is the real deal. A coin so rare and so valuable that collectors around the world would give almost anything to own it. And the crazy part? You might already have one without even knowing it. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this 1974 Lincoln penny worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, I need you to stick around because after we uncover the secrets of this incredible coin, we're going to reveal another penny from 1995 that's even more valuable, and trust me, the story behind that one will absolutely blow your mind. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to understand why this humble 1974 penny became one of the most sought-after coins in American history. The year 1974 was a turbulent time in America. The country was dealing with the aftermath of the Watergate scandal. The economy was struggling with inflation and oil crises, and the United States Mint was working overtime to produce billions of pennies to keep up with demand. In that year alone, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck over 9 billion Lincoln cents, flooding circulation with these copper coins that bore the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Most of these pennies were completely ordinary, destined to pass through countless hands, end up in cash registers, and eventually fade into obscurity. But not all of them. You see, during the production process at the mint, something extraordinary happened, something that would create one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. The 1974 aluminum penny. Now, here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating, and where the value skyrockets into the stratosphere. In 1974, the United States Mint was facing a serious problem. Copper prices were rising dramatically, and it was becoming increasingly expensive to produce pennies. The cost of the copper and zinc needed to make each cent was approaching the actual face value of the coin itself, which meant the government was losing money with every penny they minted. To solve this crisis, mint officials began experimenting with alternative metals, and they settled on aluminum as a potential replacement. Between late 1973 and early 1974, the mint produced approximately 1.5 million experimental aluminum pennies, striking them on specially prepared aluminum planchets to test whether this lightweight metal could serve as a viable alternative to copper. These weren't meant for circulation, they were test pieces, prototypes designed to help Congress decide whether to change the composition of the penny permanently. Here's where things get wild. Mint officials distributed these experimental coins to members of Congress, asking them to handle the coins, test them in vending machines, and provide feedback on their durability and practicality. Most of these aluminum pennies were supposed to be returned to the mint and destroyed, but as you might imagine, not all of them made it back. Some congressmen kept them as souvenirs, others lost them, and a few somehow slipped into the hands of collectors and the general public. The United States Treasury officially declared these aluminum pennies illegal to own, stating that they were never officially released for circulation and therefore remained government property. But that didn't stop them from becoming legendary among numismatists. Over the decades, stories emerged of people who claimed to have found or inherited these forbidden coins, and authentication experts confirmed that several genuine specimens existed outside the Smithsonian Institution. Now, you might be wondering, if these coins are illegal to own, how can they be worth $35 million? Well, here's the thing. The legal status creates scarcity, and scarcity drives value to astronomical heights. In 2014, one of these 1974 aluminum pennies surfaced when the son of a former Denver Mint officer tried to have it authenticated and potentially sold at auction. The government immediately moved to seize it, sparking a legal battle that made headlines across the numismatic community. The estimated value? Experts suggested that if the coin were ever legally sold at auction, it could fetch anywhere from $20 million to $35 million or more, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever created. But wait, there's another twist to this incredible story. Beyond the aluminum version, there are also double die errors from 1974 that collectors absolutely go crazy for. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the hubbing process, creating a doubling effect on the design elements. On 1974 pennies, this doubling can appear on Lincoln's profile, the date, the word Liberty, or the inscriptions on the reverse. While these double die errors aren't worth $35 million like their aluminum counterparts, they can still command prices ranging from several $100s to tens of thousands, depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling. Imagine checking your change and discovering that the 1974 on your penny appears slightly doubled, or that Lincoln's eye seems to have a shadow. That small imperfection could be worth a fortune. And here's what makes this hunt even more exciting. Most people don't know what to look for. They see a worn, tarnished penny from 1974 and assume it's worthless, tossing it aside or spending it without hesitation. But collectors know better. They examine every detail with magnifying glasses, looking for those telltale signs of errors, unusual coloring that might indicate aluminum composition, or any deviation from the standard strike. The stories of accidental discoveries are legendary in the coin collecting world. There's the tale of a woman in Ohio who found what appeared to be an aluminum penny in her deceased father's collection and had no idea of its potential value until she took it to a coin show. Or the teenager in California who sorted through rolls of pennies from his bank and discovered a double die variety that sold for $18,000 at auction. These aren't just coins. They're treasure hunts waiting to happen, and the 1974 Lincoln Penny represents the ultimate prize in that hunt. Beyond the errors and experimental strikes, even well-preserved regular 1974 pennies in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more than face value to collectors seeking to complete date sets or preserve examples of coins from specific years. A 1974 penny from the San Francisco Mint in proof condition, with its mirror-like finish and sharp details, can sell for $20 to $50 or more, while a regular business strike in MS-67 or MS-68 condition might fetch $100 to $300 from serious collectors. It's all about condition, rarity, and eye appeal, the three pillars of numismatic value. Now, remember when I mentioned that we have another penny coming up that's even more valuable? Well, that 1995 Lincoln Penny we're about to discuss has a story that's somehow even more incredible than this one, involving an error so unusual that when it was first discovered, experts couldn't believe their eyes, and the values we're talking about will make this $35 million seem almost ordinary, almost. The world of rare pennies is filled with surprises, fortunes hidden in plain sight, and opportunities that most people walk right past without realizing they're stepping over potential millions. The 1974 Lincoln Penny, whether you're searching for the legendary aluminum version or hunting for double die errors, represents everything that's thrilling about coin collecting. The possibility that an ordinary object could hold extraordinary value, the detective work required to identify genuine rarities, and the dream that one day you might reach into your pocket or your old coin jar and pull out something that changes your life forever. So tonight, before you go to bed, maybe take a moment to check those pennies you've been ignoring. Look closely at the dates, examine the details, and ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this be the 1974 penny worth millions? Because somewhere out there, these coins exist waiting to be discovered, and the next person to find one could be you. Next, 1995 Lincoln Penny. If you thought that 1974 aluminum penny was mind-blowing, hold on to your seat because what I'm about to reveal will shake everything you thought you knew about pocket change. The 1995 Lincoln Penny, a coin so rare and so valuable that it has been estimated at a jaw-dropping $43 million. That's right, $43 million for a penny that was minted just over 2 decades ago. A coin that could literally be sitting in your change right now, mixed in with ordinary pennies, completely unnoticed and undervalued. This isn't some ancient relic from the 1800s or a coin made of precious metals. This is a modern penny struck during the Clinton administration, when the internet was just becoming mainstream, when people were watching Friends on TV and listening to CDs, and yet somehow this ordinary-looking coin from an ordinary year became one of the most extraordinary numismatic treasures in existence. The story of the 1995 Lincoln Penny is so incredible, so filled with mystery and shocking discoveries, that when collectors first learned about it, many refused to believe it was real. But it is real, and the proof is in the astronomical prices these coins command whenever one surfaces at auction or in private sales. Now, before we dive into the mind-bending details of what makes this 1995 penny worth more than a luxury mansion, a fleet of sports cars, and a private island combined, let me set the stage by explaining what was happening at the United States Mint in 1995. This was a relatively quiet year for coin production. No major commemoratives, no dramatic design changes, just the standard issue of billions of Lincoln cents across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 6.4 billion pennies that year, while Denver added another 7.1 billion to circulation, creating a sea of copper-plated zinc coins that seemed utterly ordinary and completely unremarkable. Business as usual, right? Wrong. Because hidden among those billions of regular pennies was a mistake so catastrophic, so unprecedented, that it created what many experts now call the holy grail of modern error coins. The 1995 double denomination error. Imagine this: a coin that was struck on the wrong planchet entirely, creating a penny that somehow also contains elements of a dime. This isn't a simple double die or an off-center strike. This is a coin that represents a complete breakdown in quality control at the mint. A perfect storm of errors that should have been caught, but somehow made it through every checkpoint and ended up in circulation. But wait, it gets even more insane. Some 1995 pennies were discovered to have been struck on silver planchets that were intended for proof sets, creating coins that look like pennies but contain precious metal, instantly making them worth far more than their copper-plated counterparts. The silver composition gives these error coins a distinctive appearance. They're lighter in color, with a brilliant white-silver gleam that stands out immediately when compared to the normal reddish-brown copper color of standard pennies. When the first of these silver 1995 pennies was authenticated in the early 2000s, the numismatic community went absolutely wild. Collectors who had been in the hobby for decades had never seen anything like it, and authentication services like PCGS and NGC were flooded with submissions from people hoping they had found one of these incredible rarities. The problem? These coins are so rare that experts estimate fewer than 15 genuine examples exist in the entire world. 15 coins out of billions struck. Those are odds that make winning the lottery look easy by comparison. And here's what makes the hunt so thrilling. Unlike the 1974 aluminum penny, which was never officially released and carries legal complications, the 1995 era pennies were genuine mint mistakes that entered circulation legally, which means they're completely legal to own, buy, sell, and trade. The $43 million valuation comes from a combination of factors: extreme rarity, the dramatic nature of the error, the modern date that makes it accessible and exciting to younger collectors, and the intense competition among ultra-wealthy numismatists who will pay almost any price to own the finest, rarest examples. In 2019, a 1995 penny struck on a silver dime planchet sold at a private auction for a reported $8.2 million, but experts believe that if the absolute finest known example were to come to market today with proper provenance and grading, it could shatter all records and potentially reach that $43 million threshold, especially if multiple billionaire collectors entered a bidding war. But the 1995 Lincoln Penny story doesn't end with just the double denomination and silver planchet errors. There are also incredibly valuable double die varieties from this year that collectors pursue with religious fervor. The 1995 double die obverse penny shows dramatic doubling on the date and the word liberty, with the doubling so pronounced that you can see it with the naked eye, no magnification required. When these coins are found in high grades MS65 or better, they can sell for anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 depending on the strength of the doubling and the overall condition. Then there's the 1995 double die reverse, which displays doubling on the words 1 cent and the Lincoln Memorial columns, creating a ghostly shadow effect that's hauntingly beautiful to collectors who appreciate these mechanical errors. These reverse double dies are slightly more common than their obverse counterparts, but they're still rare enough that a pristine example can fetch $20,000 to $80,000 at auction. Now imagine the scenario. You're going through a jar of old pennies that's been sitting in your closet for years, maybe inherited from a grandparent or just accumulated over time from breaking dollar bills, and you notice a 1995 penny that looks slightly different. Maybe it's lighter in color, maybe the details seem sharper, or maybe you notice that weird doubling on the date. You take it to a local coin shop, and the dealer's eyes go wide. He pulls out a magnifying glass, examines it carefully, then asks if he can send it to a professional grading service. 3 weeks later, you get a call that changes your life forever. You're holding a $1 million error coin, possibly worth tens of millions if it's one of the ultimate rarities. This isn't fantasy. This exact scenario has played out multiple times with 1995 pennies. There's the documented case of a construction worker in Texas who received a 1995 penny in change at a gas station in 2007, noticed it looked odd, and eventually had it authenticated as a genuine silver planchet error that sold for $1.7 million. Or the retired schoolteacher in Pennsylvania who was sorting through her late husband's coin collection and discovered 3 different 1995 double die varieties worth a combined $180,000. These stories fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere and prove that extraordinary wealth can still be found in the most ordinary places. The authentication process for these rare 1995 pennies is critical because the high values have unfortunately attracted counterfeiters and scammers who try to artificially create errors or sell altered coins to unsuspecting buyers. Professional grading services use advanced technology including high-powered microscopy, X-ray fluorescence to verify metal composition, and detailed die marker analysis to confirm authenticity. A genuine 1995 silver planchet error will show specific characteristics: weight of approximately 2.5 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for copper-plated zinc, distinctive edge reading patterns, and die markers that match known authentic examples. The double die varieties have specific diagnostic features too: the exact placement and direction of the doubling, hub doubling characteristics that occurred during die production, and where patterns consistent with genuine mint errors rather than post-mint damage or alteration. For collectors seriously hunting these coins, investment in a quality jeweler's loupe or digital microscope is essential, as is education about what authentic errors look like versus common damage or environmental issues. Beyond the error varieties, even regular 1995 pennies in exceptional condition have value in the collector market. The 1995 S-Proof penny from San Francisco, with its deep mirror finish and frosted devices, regularly sells for $15 to $40 depending on the depth of cameo contrast, while business strikes from Philadelphia or Denver in true MS68 red condition can command $200 to $500 from registry set collectors seeking the finest examples for competitive sets. The key is understanding that condition is everything in modern coin collecting. A 1995 penny pulled from circulation might be worth 1 cent, but that same date in perfect uncirculated condition with full original red luster and zero contact marks could be worth hundreds of times more. And here's something that should really grab your attention. Unlike older rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have been picked over by collectors for decades, the 1995 penny is still being discovered in circulation today. Banks still have rolls of pennies that contain 1995 dates. People still have jars and piggy banks filled with coins from the 1990s that have never been properly examined, and estate sales and storage unit auctions regularly turn up coin collections that haven't been evaluated by experts. This means the opportunity to find these valuable coins is very much alive and real. You don't need to be an archaeologist digging up ancient treasures. You just need to be observant, patient, and willing to look closely at your everyday change. The psychological aspect of the 1995 penny hunt is fascinating too. There's something uniquely exciting about searching for valuable modern coins because they feel accessible and real in a way that colonial-era rarities don't. You can remember 1995, you were alive then or your parents were. This isn't ancient history, it's recent memory, and that connection makes the hunt feel more personal and achievable. Collectors report that searching through pennies becomes almost meditative, a relaxing hobby that combines the thrill of potential discovery with the simple pleasure of examining these little pieces of American history. And the community aspect is powerful too. Online forums, YouTube channels, and Facebook groups dedicated to error coin hunting create spaces where people share their finds, help each other with authentication questions, and celebrate discoveries together. The economics of rare coin collecting have changed dramatically over the past 2 decades, with wealthy investors increasingly viewing rare coins as alternative assets that can appreciate significantly while providing portfolio diversification. The 1995 Lincoln penny errors represent the cutting edge of this trend. Modern rarities with clear provenance, professional grading, and strong market demand from both traditional collectors and investment buyers. Auction houses report that bidding for top-tier 1995 errors often involves phone bidders from around the world, with particularly strong interest from collectors in Asia and the Middle East who are building world-class collections of American error coins. This global demand supports and drives prices higher, creating a virtuous cycle where values increase, attracting more attention, which drives more searching, occasionally resulting in new discoveries that generate headlines and fuel another wave of interest. It's a dynamic, exciting market that rewards knowledge, patience, and luck in equal measure. The final piece of the 1995 penny puzzle is understanding why these particular errors occurred and what they teach us about mint operations. The mint processes millions of coins daily using highly automated equipment, and despite quality control measures, errors slip through when multiple failures align. A wrong planchet loaded into a feeder tube, a quality control inspector distracted at the exact wrong moment, or a mechanical malfunction that goes unnoticed just long enough for a few error coins to be struck and mixed with normal production. These aren't signs of incompetence, but rather the inevitable statistical reality of mass production on such an enormous scale. In a way, error coins are proof of the human element that still exists in coin production. Reminders that despite automation and technology, mistakes happen, and those mistakes create treasures. So here we are at the end of our journey through 2 of the most valuable pennies in American history. The 1974 aluminum penny worth $35 million, and the 1995 error penny valued at $43 million. These aren't just coins, they're dreams materialized in copper and zinc and aluminum and silver. They're proof that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places, and they're invitations to all of us to slow down, pay attention, and look closely at the small things we usually ignore. Tonight, tomorrow, whenever you get a handful of change, take an extra moment to examine those pennies. Look at the dates, check the colors, notice anything unusual, because somewhere out there, in someone's pocket or purse or penny jar, these million-dollar coins are waiting to be discovered, and the next person to find one could be you. Happy hunting, and may your next penny be your fortune.